Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to the As Always podcast. I'm one of your hosts, James, and I'm joined, as always, by Tyler.
As always, how's it going, my friend? I've been fucking waiting a while to say that.
It's going well, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a little late,
That's good.
but that's okay. We're not going to blame anyone for that. We're not going to point fingers.
No.
Why it's 10:40 at night on a Thursday night where I've worked all week non-stop and I'm exhausted. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's really silly of you. Why have you scheduled it for this time, Tyler?
I know, it's a weird that I scheduled it for this late on my time, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. We're here. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this for weeks. Feels good to say as always again. It feels good to just talk to you and no one else. Like, obviously you've been on the last few Four Pillars, but just you and I sitting down talking on a podcast. That's the OG. That's the bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's what we do and have done for, in a week's time from when everyone's listening to this, for 7 fucking years.
Yeah.
It's
easy. It's easy to do.
More than a quarter of my life I've spent fucking around on these shows with you. You know what I mean? Well over, like 30% of my life. 26 years, seven of them have been fucking around with you. That's well over a quarter of my life.
God, that's so long. That's so long. Oh man, it feels good to be back there doing one of these. It's been so long, and I could even, when I was doing the intro, I could hear the intro jingle in my head. I don't even know what that song is, but I love it. It's yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's been a fucking long time.
It's been so long. I mean, the first started, like, it's been 3 months. It's been the longest break that we haven't done an As Always Cook Club over the 7 years. In that 7-year period, it's been the longest time since between the first episodes, like the first 2 episodes. That was the longest break because we hadn't really officially started. It was like an accident episode, and then we actually started it. The longest break
between episode 1 and episode 2, or episode 2 and episode 3, maybe.
Yeah,
2 and 3, right? Because 1 and 2 was the introduction was in January, and then the second episode was the February.
No, I'm talking about where, like, episode
you mean 0
I mean,
and
like
1?
0, the 7-year anniversary, like, you know, the initial day one moment, episode 0 to 1.
Yeah, that was a long time. Yeah,
this has been the longest
August
break.
to January.
Yeah, this has been the longest break since then. And
Jesus Christ,
it's been crazy. Like, obviously, I took a break. Like, we both took breaks. Like, I took a break.
We did. It's true.
And, like, definitely wasn't ready to come back, but I was like, I think I have to for my sanity, because everything else in my life was falling apart, and I thought, I can't, you know, I need this back, you know, I need some sort of stability. But then as I come back, you go on a break, and I'm like, oh, fuck! Like, and then I took over Clubhouse, now become a weekly thing, so you're welcome for that, because that's probably, everyone wants that to stay. I was like, trying to say the other episodes, like, oh, we'll go back to fortnightly, and everyone's like, fucking, we won't, will we? We want it weekly.
Oh, God. Like, well, we definitely will when I'm back, so they can all go fuck themselves, because there's no chance of ever being weekly once I'm back on the show.
Yeah, but I was thinking about it, I'm like, do you just do every second week, and I just keep ripping and tearing every other week with the patrons?
I mean, if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
what about when you run out though? You're gonna run out at some point, and then everyone's gonna be disappointed.
I just keep reusing. I'm not getting like regular patrons. I'll just keep using like I've used, who have I had? I had Gaz, Toby, Zach, Ben, George, and I'm getting, this episode will already be out, Joe is on this week. I've got a roster. We've got a roster of people. I'll bring Eddie on. I'll bring Sheps on. Like, and then we'll just reuse all of them.
If you want to, I have no objections.
Yeah, I mean, you're still getting the money.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. You know what? I'm never coming back. You know what? Cancel this show. We're not doing this anymore.
It's been a fucking while, and this is the show. Like, to me, like, and the Four Pillars podcast has been a raging success. It's so much fun. 4 good mates just absolutely talking shit. And obviously Clubhouse is, you know, it's the best podcast on the internet. But this is the mothership. This is home base. This is the show. This is the foundation. This is the anchor point for me. And I think it's the same for you with podcasts. Like, the As Always podcast is what I need in my life. It's what I've been missing. I was at work today re-listening to the last episode we did with Maddie, and it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it's weird.
Where it feels like a different life ago. Like, with the amount that has changed for me, I'm like, I don't even like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even recognize it. So it's been a big transition, but with all life transitions I've had in the past 7 years, this show's always been here. So it just feels right, to be back. I've always had this. This is the constant. And talking to you, like, one-on-one, at the very least, has been the constant. So I fucking missed you. And I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're feeling better, even though shit's not completely sorted yet.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. This show, a lot of people have said they've missed this show, because as good as Four Pillars podcast is, and as much as I enjoy that as well, it's fucking great. This show is completely different, and it's the one thing we've had. And I think, as much as, like, for me and you, it's this one, like, it's like the home base for creating content, and it's like the one thing that we always have. I think for the community as well, it's the same. So you've got the community always have this one show to tune into, and also I'm just talking to you guys now because Tyler's actually dropped out, so I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Josh can just edit out the gap while we wait for Tyler to come back. So hello.
Yep. Well, we knew that was coming, didn't we? We knew it was coming.
Yeah. So I was saying, and as well as that, it's been the same for the community, in that they've got this one place they know they can always come back to be up to date on what's happening. And I feel like a lot of people might have feel like they've lost that with the show being gone. They're like, what do I show up to? What's the one thing that I can always come back to? Like, I guess there are streams, there is Four Pillars podcast, but then As Always podcast has always been that thing where everyone just shows up to. Like, no matter what the thing is that you enjoy outside of it, everyone always shows up to it.
Yeah.
For the premieres, or when we used to do it live, when it was live and everything. So it's good to have it back.
I mean, you and I have our own chemistry that is, timeless, and people have missed.
Timeless. It's classic. It's vintage.
It's vintage. Some might say vintage. And it's been the foundation of the community. It's why when we look at what's Four Pillars Day, what's the beginning of the Four Pillars, the first moment was the first show you and I did together, and then it just built from there, bringing George in and Ethan in, and the four of us, our friendship, and then the greater community, the other content creators, but then all the friends we've made and everyone that watches us. The As Always podcast is home base. The As Always podcast, I mean, it's not fair to say to the Four Pillars podcast because it's been off 15 episodes in half a year, but this is obviously still the biggest show in terms of even viewership. Like, you look at this has more on YouTube, but like numbers on podcast services, this is shits on everything we've done. Like, this has a lot of, it has a big listenership, and people love the interviews, but they love what you and I do, running through the topics and it being that, nerd news program that you and I can talk shit on. And we've got a new segment that we're going to bring in that we're going to call it Civil War, is what I thought. Like,
that's a good
Civil
name.
Wars,
Like
they're going to be
Let's
the name
call it
of the segment. You might have seen a poll. You might have seen the poll that went up on the As Always Twitter account. We won't do the segment yet, but it'll bring it up later. I do want to bring up, James, maybe we should probably do it on Patreon and let the patrons do the voting. And then it's a bit of like an As Always thing. I feel like that makes sense. It's a good taste for the first one. Lots of interaction. But then I feel like, for particularly this voting, I feel like I haven't seen the results. Could be skewed based on Amir bots. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whereas I feel like I want the true community As Always army. Plus then it's like, come join the As Always Entertainment, As Always army, or on patreon.com/As Always that make this show happen. So thank you to our producers for making the show happen.
The list.
Oh, fuck you. I've been reading every week.
It's been so long.
I've been reading it every fucking week.
Oh, I've missed
it. Well, no, I'm not reading it. Because I've already got it up. So thank you to our producers. Okay. We have Ollie, the superior Ollie. You can read the end. Avery Dobbs, Clark 53, cool. Damien, Ferrantino, Flash Paradox, Franco, Jesper Olsen, King Richard III, Olbrich, Ryan Hafer, Tristan Weaver, and Ballsack 47. Thank you, sweet vintage lads, for helping power this podcast.
Classic.
I should note something of a segment I brought on in the Four Pillars podcast I've done here. I wasn't going to order a sundae. I've been really good about what I've been eating this week, but you're making me stay up late. I need to fill my stomach. I need a hot fudge sundae treat and some large fries. It's where we are. And yeah, so anyway, that's a cool segment, and that'll be something we do when it's just you and I episodes, the Civil War one, where we pick a major topic, whether it could be movies related, could be video games, whatever, but we have major opposing ideas on.
Yeah.
And today's going to be, to preview it for everyone, God of War versus Red Dead Redemption 2. What's the greatest game of all time? James obviously I think we know, James is Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm God of War. He and I will go head to head at it, debate like rigorously, probably hurt each other's feelings a bit in there, throw some jabs, and at the end we will go to the poll to reveal who won. And obviously it's not based on any merit of our arguments. It's just based on the community opinion, which is objective. Maybe not this one necessarily because it's a Twitter one, and I have a suspicion Amir's fucked us on this. I thought about it after I posted. I was like, Amir's gonna fuck this poll.
I think Red Dead's gonna win anyway. So
well, it's not though, is it? Because it's not better. We're not
see,
starting
this is
this,
not fair.
Because
now you're gonna pull out. You're always gonna be pulling out now that Amir skewed it, when in reality it's just the results. So.
If Red Dead Redemption 2 wins the poll, I will fucking take my licks like a man. But going forward, I just feel like it should be on the Patreon. That's what I'm saying. And you agree, that's all I'm saying. It should be a Patreon poll. It's a great reward for our loyal, as always, members. Great community interaction. And as well, we won't get fucked by the polls. There's no chance of getting fucked by the polls. Like the bots or anything like that. And if it is or it isn't, I'll take my licks. I doubt it will, because objectively God of War's better. We'll get into that later. There's been so much going on. 7 years we've been doing this. We're still kicking along somehow. Wow. What's been going on, man? What's new? How you feeling? What's the update with you? And how was your break, I guess?
What's been going on? Man, it's been a long time, hasn't it? There's a lot going on. Well, yeah, so the break was good. I mean, I think I needed it anyway. I mean, I talked about this a little bit on Four Pillars podcast, but for those that don't listen to that show or whatever, and I've been waiting for this one to come back or whatever, God, for anyone that doesn't know, I've been having a bunch of health issues, and they sort of, it sort of culminated at this point where I was like, I can't keep pushing myself to do so much content. I had to step back, and I think I'd been pretty wrecked in a lot of ways since I did that Witcher retrospective last year. I think ever since I did that, I don't know, I needed a break, and I never had one. And I mean, I did have a sort of break early in 2020, but I don't know, it didn't reset me properly. Whereas this time I went on like a big, long...
Would you say COVID's the reason it didn't reset you properly?
Maybe, yeah, because it was just being stuck inside, and so it was just like, because it was like the height of COVID as well. Yeah. And so I was just like, I can't do anything, and there's no like, I was just sitting inside, right next to my office, even if I wasn't in my office. I was like, but I'm not working. I'm like forcing myself not to work when I could be. But like, and I struggle so much to not just go all in as well. Like if I start one thing, I'm like, I want to do everything. Yeah. And that's something I tried to not do this time. But
I literally wouldn't let you back on Clubhouse or this show at first. I was like, just come on Four Pillars and don't say fuck away from everything else. Because I thought the same. I was like, I don't want you to come back and then not feel like good about it. Yeah, and it
definitely was good to do. I mean, even now, I'm not back on everything, but I'm back in most ways now, and it's partly because the break was a good reset, and like I was craving getting back to everything. There was a point where I was like, I need to do something because I just need to, and that would have been better for me to do something. So I was like, I'm just gonna work on something. I don't remember what actually I did. I worked on a Halo video or something, and then I was like, I can come back to doing a bit of streaming, and then I just eased into everything. And that was good for me. It was definitely good for me mentally to be on the break. And obviously, I'm not fully okay. I'm not even better, really. I'm exactly the same as I was. But the only difference is now they managed to find some medication that short term does actually help. So it means I'm actually able to get on with life and just do things. But it still isn't great sometimes, and it's just a bit difficult, and I'm still waiting to see a fucking doctor about it, and we've got like a date for early September or whatever, so that's fucking annoying, but and there's other stuff going on, but I'll explain that all when it's dealt with. But it's all things considered, I'm doing all right now, and I'm trying to stay positive and everything. But it's good to be back here and good to be doing streams and everything, and the community are great. So it's just lots of positivity, and it's been nice. And I think in terms of videos as well, I don't know, like I think I've got over the past 4 years, I guess, but even more recently, I've been establishing like different like revenue flows and different things that I do. So I've got a lot of different places. So obviously I've got my main YouTube channel, but then I've got Four Pillars Network. There's obviously the Clips channel. I've got It's Lasboy. I've got my VODs channel to work on. I've got streaming over on Twitch. I've got Patreon. So it means I don't have to be working so consistently and constantly on main channel videos. Yeah. Especially since that's my main place that I'm like passionate about creating content. It's not like a factory where I pump shit out. And if I work those videos like that, they just become soulless. And I'm at this really good point where I'm able to take a step back and not be constantly working on a new project, but still be working on things. And it means that those main channel videos can shine and be even better. And the recent video I'd done of Shadow of Mordor did really well. People have been really enjoying that, and it's still climbing in views, so that's nice.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I just think I'm in a good position. And now it's just all about growing those individual places and trying my best to keep on top of it. But I think I'm doing well. I think everything's going quite well now. I'm quite happy.
Yeah, you seem happier as well, like noticeably happier. So that's I think really good. That's really good. And I've been similar, like slowly coming back to it. Like I had a bit over a month break from everything, totally shut it off, and social media and everything was just gone. And then I came back, and I wasn't ready or anything, but he's back in a Four Pillars podcast clubhouse every week. It was super depressing, those episodes. Like it was a fucking as Zach calls it, the Depresso Espresso era. That we're out of now officially, I would say, after the Zach episode. And then Ben's episode was really... Ben literally goes to me after, he's like, dude, you seem yourself again. And that was nice to hear. I'm certainly feeling a lot better day to day. I'm not as, eternally miserable. Still a long road. I'm still a long road. But certainly I just feel better, and I'm keen and enjoying things again in my life, and figuring out where I need things to be okay in day to day. You know what I mean? Like my new job's really good. I'm really enjoying that. My new place is good. So there's lots of good things. And then obviously I told you just off air, because the announcement is 1 minute from now. At the time of recording this, I've made all these channels: Dynamite Gaming, which is the main channel rebranded, Dynamite Music, Dynamite Sports, Dynamite TV, just to have an online profile for myself now that I've got my career sorted. I don't need this for necessarily money or views. I can just make whatever I want. I love making content. And have the Dynamite show on the Four Pillars Network that can be an umbrella for those channels. So if I'm talking about movies or TV, the clip of that can go on the TV channel, or sport or music or whatever. But then individual shit. Like I can have a sports show, I'm talking about UFC on the sports channel. I can do album reactions on the music channel. I can do my stream vids or Dynamite like plays or whatever gaming related content I want to make on the gaming channel, and skits and short films on the TV channel. Like I've just got the place now to make all the content I want to make, and I can just do it for the love of it and the passion for it. And I feel like this week it's just been like at work all day, go straight to the gym in between, come home, and then work till midnight on videos and like get 5 hours sleep. I'm exhausted, but all the videos are done that I needed. And I feel good. Hopefully people like the idea. I just want to have content on all the channels when I announce. I didn't just want to like announce and it be a blank channel. Be like, here's a video and this is the types of things you'll see. And there's not scheduled necessarily for everything other than the main podcast. It's just when I want to do it, when I can do it. And if I leave it like that, I'll probably end up doing more stuff if I don't set a schedule for it. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and I feel good about it, and I'm excited about it, and it's going to be good. One segment I brought in the Four Pillars podcast that was getting fucking hot fudge Sundays, and it's arrived. I just want to point that out. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. Josh can cut this, or James, you can go on a fucking rampage. I don't know, but I'll be 2 seconds.
Oh my god!
I'll be 2 seconds.
Okay. Well, right now I'm posting a meme tweet. All right, I've seen Tyler's announcement, and I've immediately my head. I'm on it with the memes. All right, so I've got a quality meme, and it ties directly into the fact that Tyler he's just getting his sundae, he's getting his fries from old McDonald's. So I will reveal all when he comes back. I'm just going to post the tweet now. Have I posted a tweet before he's posted a tweet? Did he not schedule a tweet? I don't think he scheduled a tweet. I'm just checking. No, he hasn't scheduled a tweet at all. So I'm the first person to actually tweet about Tyler's announcement. And it just... I'm such an idiot. Oh, man. I need him to come back now because I've run out of things to say. We're at the end now. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. I've laid my meme trap. And now we're waiting. We're waiting. Here he comes. Shh, shh, shh.
Right. We're back.
Hello.
We're back.
Hello.
Was it just awkward silence,
So-
or what were you talking about?
No, I was talking. So I saw your announcement immediately. A meme popped into my head, so I posted a tweet. Noticing that I've actually posted my tweet before you've even tweeted about the announcement itself.
I literally had it ready to go, but that's because I was getting my Sunday.
It's perfect. Ties into you getting the Sunday as well.
Yeah. What did you post? I don't get it. Well,
You don't
hang on,
get
I haven't
it?
read it. Oh, the announcement is Tyler taking over. What's your favorite McDonald's? Can't wait. Oh, that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. I just clicked on the picture. I was literally just looking at the picture. I wasn't looking at
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny. That's great. That's a really good. I didn't think of that. I was thinking of colours, and yellow's all I had. I might change it
Yeah.
now. You really fucked me with that.
No,
Talk about food.
it's
That
your
can be the Talk About
McDonald's channel.
Food channel. It's my
Oh,
McDonald's.
perfect.
I just eat like it's just like me going around to different McDonald's and trying like their services.
Their services.
Well, honestly, man, some McDonald's are shit. You know what I mean? You get some shit McDonald's.
Yeah, it's true.
You know better
It's
than
true.
anyone over in Northampton.
Well,
Well,
that's offensive. Western Favourite McDonald's is the best McDonald's.
I mean, in
You know, as the new
Northampton,
manager.
I mean, that's why they hired me. Save the place.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, actually.
Yeah, it's a way to go. It's a way to go. But yeah, weird. So the announcement just fucking dropped. Oh god.
Nice. There you go. I'll give it a retweet.
A little nervous about it.
What if everyone
I don't
says, Tyler, this is such a stupid idea, Tyler. Don't do this, Tyler. What if they say that? What would you do?
I mean, what's my catchphrase?
Hey man, I got big shoes. That doesn't seem relevant though.
I mean, it was one of the old ones. I have a lot of catchphrases. I don't care.
Makes sense. For sure, relax, man. For sure.
What are some of the great, over 7 years, what are some of the great Tyler-isms that, let's be honest with ourselves, you use? Everyone uses them.
Yeah, I mean, hey man is the classic. I feel like everyone, you can't say hey man anymore without being like, hey man.
I feel like I can't say anything without everyone laughing at me. Like, I literally just say anything. In fact, I don't even have to say anything. People just make up things I haven't said.
Yeah, people do make things up. George has moved on to bloody Joe now, making up things that Joe's said. In an accent that doesn't even sound like his. It really is George. It's George. He just comes up with these things that people have said that they haven't said.
Yeah.
And it's good. We like it. It's so stupid. Oh man.
Like, people, I'll just go, hey man, if I wanted to do that, I just go outside with my friends and do it.
That's my favorite meme. I love it so much.
I post anything. I was just like, oh, that Pokemon game looks great. And all the responses were like, hey man, if I wanted to catch Pokemon, I'd go outside and do it with my friends. I'm like,
hey man, I'd go outside and go rabbit hunting, man. What the fuck are we doing?
It's a fair criticism. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's fucking funny. Oh,
I fucking hate all of you.
yeah.
I fucking hate all
Same.
of you. One thing we do like to do on the show, though, James, is actually talk about news.
Oh, wow,
In spite of, we could, if we had more time, which we don't because you're so late, I'd love to reminisce a bit more. 7 years of the show. It's beautiful to be back. I thought I'd cry. I don't feel as emotional right now. I mean, a bit emotional about these McDonald's fries. They're tremendous. But there's been a lot going on in the news in the last even just couple of days. One thing I wanted to shout out to was English comedian by the name of Sean Locke, who passed away yesterday.
Oh no.
We talked about him on the show. I don't know whether it was the As Always podcast or a Clubhouse. I ran you through a bunch of his clips, and we were just admiring him.
I don't remember that.
It was a Jimmy Carr 8 out of 10 Cats Countdown show, and they did the carrot in a box skit. I'm sure. Like we literally were like reacting to a bunch of his Sean Locke clips.
God, that could have been a long time ago because I really don't remember that.
I reckon it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember anything from 6 months ago.
Good point.
My memory refreshes.
Yeah, it's because of your headaches and you don't drink enough water, but...
Yeah, that's it. I don't drink enough water. I'm drinking a big bottle of water now. I've been doing it the whole show, so just fuck all of you, okay? I drink plenty of water.
But... I'm gonna stop fucking eating while I talk about this, but Sean Locke... incredible. One of my favorite comedians. And especially, like, in English comedy, like, an OG. Like, all of the modern English comics love him. Like, I just go on Twitter and Ricky Gervais, tweeted about it. I was like, no, fuck, no. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And damn. Trevor Moore from Whitest Kids You Know passed away, American comedian, a week ago as well. I'm like, holy shit, all these comedians I watched growing up. Like, just really sad. So, like, I just want to shout out Sean Locke because he's incredible. And if you have the chance to, have some time, go on YouTube and watch some of his highlights and his clips because he will make you cry of laughter. And then when you realize he passed away, you'll cry for real.
Oh, no.
But, yeah, I just wanted to say that straight away. And then let's get into some happy news. Let's get the sad stuff out. Happy news. Anthony Mackie has officially signed the contract on the dotted line, Captain America 4. What do you think, James? How are you feeling?
Wonderful. Very happy. Good stuff. That's good to see. We've already talked about Captain America 4 a lot, so there's that. But
not enough. Not enough.
That's a good point. You could argue not enough. But that's good. It's good to see that it's officially moving ahead and we're going to get a Captain America 4 and it's happening. It's happening. So that's fucking exciting.
My question to you is, they haven't got a director yet. If it wasn't the Russo brothers, who would be your ideal director that's realistic?
You're just going to ask me that question as if I know.
Well, okay, let's go with
I have no idea.
A person that's directed Marvel property. You don't even have to know their names, but who's like the way they've made the movie, for example. Like, if you could point to a style, you're like, I really like how Doctor Strange is. I don't know. Fuck's sake, this is
okay. Well, if it's not going to be the Russos, which I don't think it will be, because they were like, we're not doing anymore, at least for a while. But the dude that did bloody, I mean, I don't know if it was a man. It might not be a man, but whoever did the show, the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Yeah, get them to do it.
I think they had a few directors, but the showrunner's writing it and doing this this movie.
Get whoever directed the first episode, because that episode looked great.
It was really good.
So, yeah, I feel like the last episode was a bit not good in terms of like. I feel like the first episode was like really interesting visually, and the last episode just kind of wasn't. I don't know whether that was like a direction from like higher up or whatever, but
it was also terribly edited. That last episode was tough.
Yeah, it was not as good as the rest of the show at all.
Especially when episode like 4, specifically 4 and 5 were so good. They fucked so hard.
Yeah.
Like when you open an episode,
just a bit weird.
With the fight between Walker, Bucky, and Sam, like that.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah, that was a great
such
scene.
A fucking great.
Whoever directed that, get them on.
Okay, thank you so much. James. I don't know why I even asked you this question.
There you go. Wait, no, I'll find out. What episode was that? Was it episode 4? Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 4, director. It was Carrie Scogland.
Cool. Thanks, man. What have they made?
The whole world is watching.
7 people saw that movie.
Yeah. It's wait. Let me check my other film. The other films on here. We've got 50 Dead Men Walking, Liberty Stands Still, Zebra Lounge. Just looking for something that I know. Yeah, no. John in the Sky.
Yeah, cool. This is
Hockey Mom, a classic. Is it? I don't know. Hockey. People like hockey films. You like hockey films, right? You like that one, the Ducks one.
I was about to say, if you, the Mighty Ducks.
That's the one.
The
yeah,
trilogy
yeah.
of Mighty Ducks films, one of the great trilogies all time. The Mighty Ducks. Yeah, I like the Mighty Ducks. It's not because it's a hockey movie. It's because the Mighty Ducks. And it's a tremendous story about overcoming adversity. The underdog.
Yeah, well, it's probably as good. Maybe one day I'll watch it. If it's like a Christmas film, is it a Christmas film or is it just set at normal time?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think. I mean, they're all in winter, so I feel like there's definitely Christmas. Christmas definitely pops up here in
like
at least
snowing and stuff.
At least the first one, from memory.
Okay.
To be fair, in fairness, I don't remember a lot of the Mighty Ducks. I just remember loving it as a kid.
She's directed a film.
Emilio Estevez, who's amazing. Who's fucking amazing.
She directed a film in 1999 called Children of the Corn 666 Isaac's Return. And I'm sure that is a banger.
Okay. I feel like you're joking. I feel like there's sarcasm.
I know, I'm serious.
Yeah. Look, I'm just happy that because we've seen.
God, wait! The description of this film.
Oh God. Yeah,
it's young Hannah returns home to learn more about her mother. She picks up a stranger who foreshadows her life with a Bible passage, while Isaac awakes from a 19-year coma to fulfill the final prophecy. Final prophecy. That's amazing. I'm gonna have to watch that film.
Stop it.
Wow. That's good.
Fuck's sake. Stupid. So that's ridiculous. Oh God. Anyway, I was gonna say we've seen these contract things go pear-shaped. We're all pretty confident Anthony Mackie was signing on. Obviously, they've given him a number he likes, but he's already talked about happy to play Captain America for 6 to 8 years. Sebastian Stan posted on Instagram a story with the article announcement. So you'd be happy to assume we've got our boy Sebastian Stan on as well in Captain America 4. They have, I think, reports also saying that there's still reports Chris Evans is returning to Marvel, but the reports were saying that he will not. This is not what he's returning in. He will not be in this movie. So that's a bit confusing.
Yeah, what's he going to return in?
I'd assume Avengers. You'd assume
She-Hulk. He's in She-Hulk.
He's in Freeguy. He's in Freeguy. Have you seen Freeguy?
Yeah, we all know that's in the MCU. No, obviously not. I'm not watching that film.
It's
not made for me.
Dude, it's fucking awesome.
I'm sure it is.
It's actually so good.
Look, it's not for me. I don't like when Hollywood tries to show a culture that I am a huge part of, because it's just not right, and it's always just wrong. Ninjas in the trailer. Look, it's whatever.
I didn't know any of that, to be honest.
Exactly though. You didn't. That's why it's for you, because you don't really know what's going on. You're on the internet, but you're not on the internet.
I knew it was Ninja when he came on.
Yeah,
but I didn't. What I'm saying is, I didn't know going into the movie like you did that Ninja was in it. I was like, right. Oh, Ninja. That's weird.
Yeah, Ninja and Pokemon.
But there's a bunch of streamers and stuff. But it was just setting up the world, because there's a big storyline outside the game story.
Right.
The storyline is about. I don't want to spoil it, but the main plot thread is on the outside. It's a lawsuit going on. And it's just it's literally Taika Waititi's pretty much playing Yves Guillemot. It's just some terrible video game culture. It really perfectly describes video game culture and video game industry culture. But it's just a good comedy movie. It's just funny. They actually do pretty well with a lot of the video game stuff, to be fair. There's lots of Easter eggs and things in the background. There's a scorpion in the background at one point. As in a Halo Scorpion and shit. So there's assets from all these different things. You're holy shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
and then just like making fun of like that nerd streaming culture as well. There's some really good stuff in there, and lots of like great celebrity cameos. And there was one, like, honestly, since not there's that many movies that have come out since Endgame really in cinemas, but it was like one of the most fun experiences I've had at the cinemas since Endgame, I'd say.
Interesting.
Like,
Well, I feel like
good
I've said this, but I think it's a movie made specifically for you, and I just don't think I would. I think I'd be like, this is not for me. I just don't. It doesn't do anything for me.
They did show a bunch of video games in it, like.
Oh, I love games. I know those. Thanks, Hollywood.
They were cutting to, because I watched it with my brother. They were cutting through a montage of like all these games when they were out in the outside world on like the streaming sites, and there was like one shot of
Redacted.
us doing a Spartan kick.
Redacted.
And I literally like almost threw up. I literally did the whole motion into my popcorn. And Holly just started pissing himself laughing. And I was like, oh, well. Yeah.
Oh,
Redacted.
got their filthy hands on that film. They were like, we're going to get our game in there somehow. Here you go, $1 million, Ryan Reynolds. Put our game in. Now Ryan Reynolds is complacent in sexual abuse, so, you know, that's a shame. Boycott Deadpool. By extension, I'm going to boycott the MCU
James.
now. So, this is terrible. I don't like this. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, look, it's a good movie. I actually think it's a really good movie. The idea of them doing a sequel that they've announced is terrible. Doesn't need that ever at all. Like, it's not that sort of movie.
Freeguy 2. Isaac's return. I can't wait.
You're the worst. Why do you hate
Hope
Joy?
Ninja's in that one. Hope Ninja's actually in it. I hope he, teams up with Ryan Reynolds and they go. I hope it's like Wreck-It Ralph, but it's Ryan Reynolds and Ninja. That'd be a banger of a film. Hollywood, why am I not on your team? Why am I not here making these decisions for you? I'd make a ton of money.
Well, they had a bunch of cameos, including Chris Evans, which is what I was alluding to.
So Chris Evans was there, and he was like, "I'm Chris Evans." I mean, I can't.
Because this isn't a spoiler because he posted on Twitter like a bunch of photos with all these different celebrities who are in it, and a bunch. I knew the Hugh Jackman one I picked up on because they were like, you can't even tell, like it's just their voice or whatever, like they're not anything. But The Rock was there in the photo, John Krasinski, and I'm like, I didn't notice them at all in the movie, so I don't know where they were. But
better watch it again.
Hugh Jackman I noticed, and Channing Tatum, who was awesome in it. He was like actually in it quite a bit, and then Chris Evans, which was it was the best moment of the movie. And if you see the movie, you'll all know why. It was the fucking the coolest shit I've ever seen since Endgame. It's not really the coolest shit I've ever seen, but it was good. It was a really cool moment.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it when I can watch it for free.
Well, I could just send you that clip, and you'll be like, "That's pretty cool."
That's pretty cool, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, it's got to be like
the conversation.
It's got to be it's in the moment. I feel like it's got to be an in the moment thing.
Yeah, true.
But also, the more I think about it, and how you hate laughter and joy, and you watch videos.
It's just not true. You're just a
puppies.
boomer. That's not me. That's George.
That is, to be fair, I'm a little concerned one day he'll say that as well. Like, I just want to point that out on the Four Pillars podcast, George's recommendations.
Oh man, I was on YouTube and I was just watching these videos of puppies being cremated. It's really interesting, you know.
He's such a fucking weird cunt. You're related to him.
It's true. Yeah, that is a cold hard fact. Yeah.
I was eating fries and now I'm on the Sunday, by the way. I just want to give you the running commentary.
Okay.
This is the first video on Dynamite Food.
And the fries were good. The fries were good. Yeah. Good.
Really good fries.
That's good. Glad to hear everything's all right with your food. Yeah.
That's a good Sunday.
That's pretty good. See, the difference here between you and the gaming sheep is he leaves the room to get food, whereas you bring the food to you. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm committed. Well, here's the thing. I wasn't going to order anything, but again, it's 11:30 almost, and I just want to,
Makes sense.
I deserve a treat. It's been a big fucking week. It's been a big fucking week, mate. But anyway, yeah, watch Free Guy. There was also in the news another, because we mentioned Ubisoft just before, and obviously it's been bleeped. But the only time Josh doesn't have to bleep it is when we talk about holding Ubisoft accountable. And there was another article that came out that a watchdog, and no, not fucking
redacted
the game, bleep that as well. When I refer to the game, bleep that. Is doing an investigation into Ubisoft Singapore for professional misconduct.
Yeah.
Do you want to pull up that article? Do you want to talk about that, James? Do you want to run us through?
Yeah,
have you read the article?
Go find it. No, I'm going to read it now.
Okay, well, yeah, go for it.
Let's see. Where the fuck is it, though? That's the question.
Yeah, if we didn't tweet so much, bro.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Let me go on yours. You tweeted about it.
I did tweet about it.
Where the fuck is it?
I've tweeted a lot today, in fairness.
God, I'm scrolling back. I'm just... Oh, here we go. Here it is. Ubisoft Singapore is being investigated for new harassment claims. So when it says new harassment claims, does it mean even new ones, or does it mean the recent new ones?
I think there was... Maybe it's not new internally known, but I think it's new publicly. I think there's some new stuff publicly.
Okay, so I'm just having a little look. Received anonymous feedback to media articles about allegations of workplace harassment and unfair treatment at Ubisoft Singapore studio. Feedback was received just days after investigation by Kotaku was published, featuring interviews with over 20 current and former Ubisoft Singapore staff. Sources reported a broad range of issues affecting the studio in recent years, ranging from discriminatory racial pay disparities, sexual harassment, and bullying by managers. The majority of the toxic work conditions allegedly featured under the studio's previous managing director, Hughes Ricord. When questioned about the allegations at a press event on August 6th, the Straits Times reports that recently appointed studio managing director Daryl Long said it's very important that we can talk about these things and that we acknowledge what's going on in our industry right now. We need to start to change the way we are perceived and the way we act internally as well. They said that Ubisoft Singapore does not accept discrimination, harassment, or misconduct of any kind. The studio has reportedly hired a third-party agency to look into its complaints. We have taken concrete action to formalise how misconduct is dealt with, said Long. He acknowledged that the studio has seen some challenges over the past decade and that there is still work to be done about its culture. In Singapore, misconduct regarding workplace discrimination on the basis of characteristics such as age, gender, race, religion, and language can result in severe sanctions for a company. If found guilty, not only could TAFEP require the studio to implement new policies to prevent future incidents, but the Ministry of Manpower could also prohibit the company from applying for new work passes for foreign workers for up to a maximum of 2 years. And then it just says it's coming along at the same time as Activision Blizzard and everything.
Yeah, of course.
Alright, so they're being investigated in some way. Who knows what that'll result in. Probably a lot of nothing, but that's just how it goes. But there's been a lot going on around Ubisoft. I don't think they can't. I mean, I'd like to say they can't, but I don't feel they can hide from it anymore. I feel like there's too much talk about it now. There's too many major articles about it now that this is going to keep going on, the same as Activision Blizzard. And I think the fact it happened to Activision and Blizzard has also bumped Ubisoft's publicity with it up as well. Because I think that they could easily hide away. Whereas now with everyone talking about Activision and Blizzard and general workplace misconduct and how the industry is handling it, it feels like they can't keep pushing it under the rug, and people are going to keep going on at them, and we're going to keep it up.
Well, what's that Twitter page that's had the letter signed by all the Ubisoft employees?
Yeah, a better Ubisoft.
Yeah, is that being run by someone that's working at Ubisoft now?
That's have what it sounds no idea.
That's what it reads like. I don't know that do your own research.
So it says that the bio is current and former Ubisoft employees demanding real permanent change. So it must be a group, I would say, that came together and decided to make this account or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to see because it's got, they're tweeting out these different quotes from people that have signed this big letter about why. It's a very straightforward account, and it's what I really like about it is that it's the whole point is it's very cut and dry. The point of it is we want to hold Ubisoft accountable, and it's not trying to be, there's no like publicity to it other than what it's trying to do, which I think is really useful. There's no like community behind it or anything like that. It's not, I feel that because Ubisoft can't take this then and be like, oh, we'll work with you, because you just can't work with something that's called a better Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And like hashtag end abuse in gaming. Like Ubisoft can't use this.
Hashtag
like this.
make America great again. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah.
Make Ubisoft great again. We'll get the Vivendi hats back
again.
out. They'll be red. Wait,
Yes.
has that been done before? We can't do that. That's
Oh no.
That's not what I want to be.
no.
Sorry, we can't make jokes like this. I just realised that. Sorry.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's good to see, and we're still keeping on it and talking about it. So there you go. It's good to
What
see.
are we talking about?
What you said, obviously. But yeah, no, it's good. And this page is nice, and it's not nice, but you know what I mean. It's good that it's there. And there's still bits and bobs going on, and there's articles popping up, and yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Ubisoft can hide from it so much. And I want to say as well, I'm actually really proud of the majority of our community, like 99.9% of it, that have jumped on board with the whole we're not going to be involved with Ubisoft anymore, that just don't talk about it, don't bring it up, other than with the allegations and stuff. Majority of people are completely on board with that. In streams, I've not had, other than like the odd time with some random person coming in, any like questions about
redacted
or
redacted.
Bleep those, Josh. And it's just I'm just proud of everybody. I think everyone's jumped on board with it really, really well. And we've managed to come together, and everyone's sort of still doing bits. And I have the whole Ubisoft accountable hashtag open on TweetDeck, so I can see when there's new tweets, and we get new tweets all the time. There's always 10 to 20 tweets about it a day, and it's just nice to see that pressure is still there and people are still bringing it up. It's not dead. So
yeah, for sure. And I said in my announcement that I refuse to, unless talking about like holding Ubisoft accountable, I refuse to ever do a video on my channels again.
Redacted.
Game or involved with
redacted.
And already a comment's like, good on you, man, for doing that, but expect a huge dip in viewership. I pretty much think 70% of your subscribers are here for
redacted.
But good on you, man. I'm like, that's the most backhanded,
those people. I hate those people. Oh my
condescending
god.
comment. I'm like,
Oh,
first
what
of all,
a prick.
as I said in the video, I don't care. Like, I don't care about views. Like, I'm not here for the views anime.
And also, you can prove as well that's just not the case as well, because my views have not. They've dipped based on the fact that I don't upload as much anymore. But
yeah, I mean, no one
video
watched
turnout
me anyway,
better.
so I don't think it's any different now than it was before. Oh, no one,
man.
and now also no one. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
No one, and now no one.
I'm just here for a fucking silly goose time, James, and you know that. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. We're here to talk shit and have a laugh and do bits and bobs. It's good. It's good. It's good fun. We have good fun. Yeah, definitely. I don't need
redacted
views. I think people mistake the way that you try to grow. I think people a lot of the time will see like the way that Joraptor grows, and obviously he's doing his own thing, and they're like, well, you're not growing in that way, where you're getting hundreds of thousands of views a video and really capitalizing on the news. So how do you expect to grow? And it's like, you grow organically through community and through word of mouth, and you make great content that you want to make, whether that's being good at what you do, whether that's like editing, talking, whether that's being funny. Like, there's multiple ways to do it, and obviously news is the easiest way to grow, but it's not necessarily good for long-term growth, whereas creating content that you're passionate about is better for long-term growth, although it's slower. So I mean, it's taken me 3 years now to get to a really good position with it, because I stopped focusing on
redacted.
Believe that back in 2018.
Josh, I think you know when you need to bleep and when you don't. We don't even need to
I
say
know,
it to
but
bleep it.
he keeps missing them.
Yeah, he does keep missing him. But to be fair,
So I need to tell him
it a lot. Like,
yeah, I
we
guess
say
so.
it too much.
I guess so. Just watch the whole fucking thing back, Josh, and then you.
He
won't
watches it
miss
back
them.
like 3 times.
How did you miss it? I wouldn't miss it if I was still in charge of this thing, alright? We've handed it off to you.
Mate, you didn't even watch it through once.
No, you're right. I didn't watch it at all.
You just
I just rented it out.
We used to have to stop and be like, oh, fuck, what time did that happen? So you can only go to that bit and cut it because you wouldn't watch it.
I did not watch it back, no.
Yeah, that's why true. We pay someone to do it for us. Because you know he watches it.
Yeah, that's true.
And if the worst thing he does is he misses one bleep out of 37, but also massively edits the whole show perfectly, I don't care.
Yeah. Oh,
Shout out to Josh, who's now editing for the Four Pillars podcast and this podcast, and has been with us for over a year and part of the As Always family. So
that's good.
Shout out to Josh.
Good old Josh. Oh my god, why the fuck am I yawning?
He hasn't let me down, unlike James, who makes me wait an hour and a half.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Other than a couple of those bleeps, but again, can't blame me. James brings it up a lot.
Well, that's not even true. It's just not even true.
Yeah. Well,
you brought it up.
I did bring it up this time, in fairness.
Yeah. I
did bring it up. Something else I wanted to bring up was The Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Have you rewatched The Lord of the Rings recently? Because I feel like
I've been rewatching it. Yeah. I am now at the minute.
So when was the first time you watched The Lord of the Rings? And we're talking about this because of the Amazon Lord of the Rings show. The announcers, a lot going on, and we're about to go through a Lord of the Rings phase within the community. And I've been waiting 7 years for this moment. And I'm all here for it. And when I say it's happening, I'm forcing it to happen. Go on.
It was the first time I watched The Fellowship was 2014. I remember watching that through and thinking it was like good, and then I just didn't watch anymore. I think I watched. I don't even know if I finished it. I think it was just so long, and I was just like. I don't know. I don't know why. I ran out of time or something and just never went back to it.
You watched it for the first time when I knew you.
Yeah, the first proper time I watched it, the first proper time I sat through, that was 2018. It was.
I remember convincing him, like, bro, you have to watch them. They're the best films of all time.
I feel like it was 2018. I feel like it was pretty recent, like 3 years ago.
That sounds right.
And or it might have been a bit before that. It might have been 2017, and then I rewatched them in like 2018, 2019, and now I'm rewatching them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty recently that I've watched them for the first time. So it's good to rewatch them and stuff because you notice different things, and they're long films, so there's a lot you notice. And I feel like when you're more familiar with it, they're even better to watch. Like I really enjoy revisiting the world.
It repays you for knowing what's going on.
Yeah, because there's a lot to fucking take in, and you notice new little details, and like you're like, oh, so that's why that thing happened, like that you might not have realized when you watched it through the first time because you're trying to take in all the surface level just plot details, but then you slowly learn about the things that are underneath, and there's so much layered on that you don't even realize is there. And I think that's so good because it's so meticulously crafted, like the dialogue and stuff and what they talk about and names they reference and things like that. You're like, oh, there's so much lore in this that if you knew everything else that was everything else that Tolkien had written, I'm sure you would pick up on all those little things way easier, and you would notice a bunch of different stuff. And I think it's just really cool. So that's been really fun to go back through. But at the minute, I'm halfway through Two Towers because Elva and I got tired and stopped watching halfway through. But we're gonna carry on watching probably at the weekend or something if we have time. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. Amazing, and I love to hear it. And what we talked about on the last episode of the of the Four Pillars podcast was that season 1 had wrapped, and they put out that picture, and we talked a bit about what it's going to be about. But since then, they've announced that New Zealand will not be where they filmed season 2. They're moving all production to the UK. I went over in the timeline show, pretty much in the article, it sounds like it's a money related thing. Because they spent $600 million on season 1.
Wow.
And there was a lot of government subsidies that the New Zealand government were giving them, like to make it cheaper and more affordable to do it over there, because New Zealand government want it filmed there. New Zealand has financially benefited so much from those films. Their tourism was up I think 40% in the years 2001, 2006. Because they would use it, like the New Zealand tourism ads, they use like Middle Earth and like Lord of the Rings and stuff in them. So like they're huge for marketing to go to the country. Because you can go to all the sites and shit, all that. It's fucking brilliant. But what it sounds like is they already have such, like, because they have to obviously Amazon doesn't have a bunch of like setups for filming and shooting over in New Zealand. They have to bring everything over and set up, and it's just for the show. Whereas in the UK, they made the note that they're like, oh, we're going to join back with... We've already got so much filming going on over there in the UK at the moment. So it sounds like they've got so much infrastructure for shooting production in the UK that I think it's more affordable to use shit they've already got there, already got set up long term, rather than having to fly everything over to New Zealand, set up in New Zealand. It's only used in New Zealand, whereas they could like use one thing for one production and then it goes back in a fucking big warehouse and the next day it's used for a different production, whether it's cameras, lights, everything, and even crew as well, like from set designers, costume designers, everything. You know, so I think it's just more affordable. I think it's a money thing. Like, and in fairness, $600 million for one season of a TV show is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's how much. That's more expensive than the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's mad. It's interesting to
be fair,
see,
it's 20
though.
years apart, but yeah.
Yeah, true. But so how do you feel currently though with the whole like they're not? I mean, filming
it's a
New Zealand
disaster.
anymore?
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
New Zealand is Middle Earth. It's well established, and it's one thing to it not only to be well established in Lord of the Rings and of course the Hobbit films. So that's 6 films. It's well established. New Zealand is Middle Earth. We all know New Zealand is Middle Earth. I've been to fucking England, and I'm half Kiwi. They're not the same. They don't look the same.
No,
you know what I mean?
Really
Go to New Zealand. It doesn't look like the UK looks. The UK looks like a fucking dog's breakfast in comparison. With the greatest, with the greatest respect. With the greatest
God save the Queen.
To the United Kingdom. With the greatest respect to the United Kingdom. It looks like a dog's breakfast in comparison.
It is weird though, because rewatching the films, you're able to and knowing that they're not filming in New Zealand, I was able to like take in and notice as well, like the environments. Like when you see those big sweeping shots and everything, it's like wow, that just does not look like the UK. Even if you're going up to like Scotland, where you could have some similar landscapes, it's just not. It's not the same. There's some very unique looking locations in the Lord of the Rings films that I'm like, that's so weird. Like you couldn't do that here. It's very different. Yeah,
well, this is I'll tell you what's the biggest disaster of it all, right? Here's the biggest disaster. If you were to say to me, yeah, but it's not the movies. It's a show, so they're doing their own thing. Okay, let's pretend that's what they're doing. Then why is the first season in New Zealand? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to not only establish New Zealand as Middle Earth in the movies, you're also going to do it in your show. And then you're going to just fucking change it.
Yeah, you know what the fuck?
That's what the biggest disaster of it is. Because I'll be pissed. I'll always be pissed that if you were to say to me from the beginning, they're like, no, we're not filming New Zealand, we're going to the UK. I'm like, well, it's a mistake. It's wrong. It's not my not my Middle Earth, not my Lord of the Rings. And you're full of shit. But at least I'm like, well, they're doing their own thing. I'll watch it. Maybe it's good, and maybe you can like trick me enough. But then to go in season 1 and establish in your show that New Zealand's Middle Earth, because we all know it is, and then in season 2 it's just you're gonna look around and all the mountains, all the hills are just gonna be flat. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be flat. It's gonna be pretty cloudy, and it's gonna be dreary. Big difference between the beautiful,
how are they gonna do it?
Sunny, clear, gorgeous skies, picturesque scenery of incredible New Zealand.
Oh, it's going to be really weird. It's going to actually be so weird. Why would they do... This doesn't make any sense, actually.
Yeah.
Season 1 is going to establish... Like, for your first season as well, you really are establishing the world that you exist in.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to just be like... But also, it looks completely different now. I just don't understand. Unless you're using copious amounts of CGI to the point where you, like... You're not even really using the landscape itself, then I don't really see how it's going to work.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, the only excuse I tried to make for it is so Numenor, where a lot of this show is going to take place, not technically Middle Earth, an island off of Middle Earth that eventually sinks. Spoilers. Okay, so let's pretend it's all in Numenor. It can't be. You know, imagine a whole season 2 being in fucking not in Middle Earth at all. Let's pretend it's in Numenor, though. Numenor, the center of Numenor, is a giant mountain, and I just don't know where the fuck we're going to get that sorted. Is it just gonna be CGI? Are we just gonna
A giant
you know?
CGI mountain, maybe. We make a miniature mountain, like a little.
I just don't know, because the two countries couldn't look more different. I'm just going to be honest with you. They couldn't look more different. New Zealand's a very distinctive looking country, especially if you've been there or even just watching the fucking Lord of the Rings. And you're going to watch the first season of the show, and it's going to be very clear. And I'm just happy that I'm like, well, let's enjoy season 1, everybody. We've got a good year to 2 years before we have to even watch the season 2. You know what I mean? Season 2 will come out 2 years from now. That's heaps of time before we can hate the show.
Yeah. But the show might suck anyway. It might just be a terrible show.
The show
in which
might
case,
suck.
like, that'd be easier on us, you know?
Yeah, it's a good point.
We could just be like, the show's just shit anyway.
$600 million.
Oh, I'd love it. I would love to see it.
I mean, if it was anyone, but I'd feel sort of bad, but it's Jeff Bezos, so he can fucking suck it.
Yeah. It's fucking Amazon. Let him lose all that money. I would love it. Just love seeing corporations fail. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's my favourite thing. Is it my favourite thing? Maybe not, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned. I'm not happy about this. But, you know, we move forward. We move forward.
We'll see.
Now, it is getting pretty late, James. It's getting pretty late.
No.
And as much as I would love to talk about, there's so many news stories to talk about. I feel like we need to get into our new segment known as Civil War.
Civil War.
I thought about this, and I'm not going to pretend it's a fucking original idea. I've been watching a lot of different podcasts over the last few months, and there was...
Oh, and you've copied it.
It's one particular podcast that does a similar-ish, inspired by a segment, you know, where they debate... Well, there's actually quite a number of podcasts that have fucking debate segments, right?
I think we should copyright this, and then we can sue all of them.
Yeah, like React. Like...
Yes.
Remember that?
Just like that, yeah, when the Fine Bros copyright
doing
React.
like live streams of their
Oh my god, their sub count dropping, yeah.
Yeah. So weird.
That was funny.
That was a weird time. Was that 2016?
That was funny. Yeah, it must have been.
Such a strange time.
Wow. I miss it. Simpler times.
I remember sitting in like the uni library watching Ethan's live streams and watching his sub count go up. Just from running those live streams, having like hundreds of thousands of people watching live.
Oh man, I miss it. Mental. I miss those days.
Simpler times.
Yeah.
But there was one particular one I brought it up. A podcast called Taste Buds. Tremendous show. Tremendous podcast. It is where the two guys debate food every episode. And I just think it's amazing. And I just thought we can use this in our own way.
Yeah.
With video games, with movies, and just two things. And you go, but we agree on so much. I'm like, yeah, we agree on like that it's good, but what's better? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure down the road we're doing fucking Kingdom Hearts 1 versus Kingdom Hearts 2. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna win. There's no way I'm not gonna win that. KH2 is just too good.
You can, yeah, but you don't understand how many OG fans and the respect everyone's going to have for the
OG. No way. KH2's going to win the poll. I am going to win you over because I'm living in the realm of objective fact when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. You're sitting there, you've got your nostalgia, you're like, oh, I love KH1, and I agree, great game, very unique, but KH2 takes the crown, and there are so many reasons for it, and I'm going to win that. And I need to do that one.
Yeah. I mean, you're wrong, and you're gonna be so shocked when the poll results come in, and cry about how wrong you are. But that's okay. That's down the road.
Picking KH1 over KH2. It doesn't even have data battles. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. But it's about the purity. It's about something that can never be equaled. It's about originality. Yeah. Not a flawed mess where you make me play as the shittest character in Kingdom Hearts for 6 hours before I get to play as Sora.
Whoa! Okay, no. You cannot just say that and move on. That's not happening.
So we've got to move on with the segment Civil War.
No fucking way!
We've got to move on.
I'm not having this Roxas slander.
Yeah, we got to move on. We don't have time for this. We don't have
when
time.
When Terra exists, oh my god.
We don't have time for this.
How could you?
We don't have time for this. You're getting emotional, and this is not the point.
Ridiculous! You fucking done it. You've baited me. You've pulled me into this. You've set. I'm all off now. I'm all shaken. I'm not ready for this. The true debate at hand.
It's called mental warfare. Well established. So for the first episode, I felt like let's start with I'd say objectively, maybe not my favorite games. They're definitely top 3, but objectively, I think the 2 best games ever made. To this day,
objectively,
bold
claim.
That is Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War. And I think, and here's the thing, James. Here's the thing. I just want to establish this why I think this debate works so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to say if I was to be like, objectively, the 2 best games of all time, Kingdom Hearts 1 versus Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh, you mean 2 games that came out 20 years apart?
Shit, did you just fucking cut? Fuck's sake! It's every hour. Oh, we're back to this again. Are you fucking kidding me? Every fucking hour at the 47th fucking minute, he cuts out every fucking time. How are we back to this? How has this happened? We came so far.
Yep, okay, we're back. That was fucking, I should have known. That's right, it's the last time it'll happen for the podcast, so we're good. As I was saying, the reason I think this debate's so good, so pertinent, you're not comparing 2 completely different genre games from 2 completely different years. You know, there's not 2 games 20 years apart. One's a first-person shooter. It's not Halo 1 against Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's not any of that shit. It's a better comparison than I did last time, Josh. Sorry, I'm just talking to Josh privately from what I was saying off camera when we cut off. Where you've got God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, you've got 2 great story-driven games that came out both in the same year within 8 months of each other that were so highly praised. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier to compare the 2. Like, I feel like it's going to be a forever debate, even in 10 years' time when there's maybe people are like think other games that have come out since are better. It'll still be like, yeah, but God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2. That's like to me, it's a big debate. Because they were the 2 biggest games and probably the 2 best games of the decade. And they were that close to each other. How do you feel about the debate topic itself?
I mean...
Do you agree with my sentiment that it's like...
I guess. I mean, I don't think I like God of War as much as you do. It's almost at a point where the amount you love God of War makes me not like it as much.
Right.
Where I'm like, it's not that good. Like, I feel like you like it way too much.
Yeah.
You've got it on like this high pedestal of like one of the greatest games of all time.
It is. It's one
and
of
I
the
don't even know if I do anymore, but then I haven't played it in a while, so...
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
It's one of the great games of all time. But, here's the thing. I'm not a knee-jerker. I don't then change my mind 5 minutes later. I've only played God of War 1 time. I platinumed it. And then I moved on with my life. But I don't then... I'm loyal. I don't then go a year later like, oh, I forgot what it was like. You know, let's fucking forget about that. And it probably was actually shit. Actually, now that I think about it, you know, that's the most James thing to say.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, now that I think about it, is it's, you know, I don't even think I like it anymore.
Look, it's not that I don't like it.
There's still things I like about Valhalla, but like, there's just things that
we're not bringing that into this. There's too much Norse already going on in this debate. I already fucking hate it.
I'm just saying. You can't. I don't like that you're trying to turn your back on God of War right now. Like, I can sit here and say to you that objectively, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the second best game of all time by a cunt's hair. Like, it's close.
Look, I think for me, God of War, what it does is it's a perfectly polished game. But I think that's to be expected in a game that's linear like God of War is, and it's not completely linear, but it's still a linear game.
Definitely not completely linear. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
It's not completely linear, but it's still a linear game. It's not an open world game. It's not got a million different possibilities in a sandbox environment because it's guided. It's trying to guide you, and it's done incredibly well because I think a lot of games, when you have a game that is not entirely linear but not entirely open, and you try and navigate through that, the game design has to be on point, and God of War is.
Just quickly, we're starting this now. Then are we? We're Civil War round 1. Maybe we could go at the end of the year who had the most wins. You know what I mean?
What is that based on, though? The community?
Like,
they've already decided before our discussion?
Yeah, I guess so. That's a good point. I mean, you know, it's a community vote. But anyway, I'm God of War. You're Red Dead Redemption 2.
I am.
I feel pretty confident. So I'm happy to let you start in your arguments of why you think Red Dead Redemption 2 is a better game than God of War PS4.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have thrust this on me. I wouldn't make this argument if I wasn't forced to, but
Yeah.
I do agree with what you have put on me here. So I will defend Red Dead Redemption 2's honor, so to speak. Get it? Because so Red Dead. Okay, so God of War. I will acknowledge all of its positives are there, and obviously I love God of War, but with it being a linear game, those things to me are expected, and it is one, if not the pinnacle of linear storytelling and linear game design, in the way that it has the illusion of being open and the illusion of being linear, and it melds the two, and I think that's very well done. But Red Dead Redemption 2 has the quality of a game like this, the quality of a Naughty Dog game, the quality of a linear experience, but in an actual real open world. And you can visit anywhere you want at any point. And to me, that quality is the pinnacle of video games, because there is not another game like it. Although it is a development of things we have seen in the past. When you play Red Dead Redemption 1 and play Red Dead Redemption 2, there's a clear progression there. But we've never seen a video game world realized in such a way that it is essentially a virtual world. It lives on its own. And it's a game that, to this day, I cannot pick apart like I can other games. There are other games, even with God of War, I can analyze the game design and I can look at like what that game did to make you go a certain way or feel a certain way or push you in a certain direction, and like how it created that, where the tricks are. Whereas with Red Dead Redemption 2, I can't. There are no points where I still can't figure out how the game works, because it's just done in such an incredibly unique and insanely detailed way that I just can't figure out how Red Dead Redemption 2 works and how it functions as a video game. And that to me is the perfect video game, because I don't even realize a lot of the time that I'm playing a video game. I get so lost in it because I can't analyze it, I can't break it down like I can with everything else. And that to me is what makes it the perfect video game, because it's just there's no other game like it.
Because you're not smart enough to comprehend it. That's what I'm getting from this.
Right. Is that what we're going with this? We're not going to talk about the games now. We're not going to talk about the games. I've already won. I've already won. That's it.
I can't comprehend it. I can't comprehend. Well, I think I could comprehend it. I think I could comprehend and explain to you Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the great games of all time, no doubt about it. No one's disputing that. It's a fantastic
Good.
game.
I'm glad I've already won.
I love
it's
Red
over.
Dead Redemption 2. But to me, if you're talking about a perfect game, you're talking about. I used to think no perfect game existed. I like when people like use a 10 out of 10. I'm like, well, 10 out of 10 is perfect, and there's no perfect games. There's no such thing as perfect game. And then I played God of War. And when I say perfect, I mean flawless. I mean, there's no fat to be trimmed. Where you might have a game that's too long, Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, and then you need to that doesn't need to be in there. Does that section need to be in there? Does that part need to be in there? Or maybe let's tighten the shit up and, make sure we're running right on schedule. No, not too long, not too short, the perfect amount, and that's your game run. But then also, all the side content, if you want to really get involved and play the whole game and platinum and do all that, not too short, not too long, just fucking right. No fucking bugs, no glitches, perfectly smooth. The combat, your gameplay mechanics continue to build from start to finish. You're not just given everything at the start. You're given enough where the game's, this is awesome. And you think you've got the whole game covered, sorted. And the game does not stop giving you new ways to play and continue to open itself up more and more and more, even when you're 30 hours in and towards the end of the game. It's still feels like you're playing a new game and it's never ending. It's like, what more could this game give me? Not just in the story, not just in the characters and the way it's acted. It feels like you're in this real place and these characters are real, because you're never hearing dialogue twice. There's no fucking dialogue. You're not walking down the street and some guy's asking you where his mate is. It's not the same sort of dialogue here and there. That's what every game does. That's what a game does. You know what I mean? That's what a general video game does. But a perfect game, you don't hear dialogue twice. You don't do the same thing twice. You are going through this flawless game in terms of gameplay, in terms of your characters, in terms of your story, in terms of the way it's created, in terms of your pacing, in terms of the challenge, everything. It's flawless. There's not a flaw in God of War. Red Dead Redemption 2, great game, one of the great games of all time. There's flaws. There's flaws there. And even my least favorite part of the game, the Guarma section. Now, arguably, super important part of the game. It's too long of a section. Needed to be there. Too long.
You've raised some points here, right? God of War. Yeah. I would argue there's plenty you could have cut from that game that would have enhanced the game itself. I think, in terms of side content,
I've named something. Why don't you name something?
In terms of side content, I don't think a lot of it was necessary at all. There's a lot of it that I'm just like, I don't need to play this. That's why I didn't play it.
You were just talking about the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 versing each other, and because there's no data battles in Kingdom Hearts 1. Are you telling me you
meaningful
didn't like
side content?
Are you talking about
the Valkyries? The Valkyries can stay. They can stay.
Okay.
The other shit,
were there Valkyries or data battles in Red Dead
ghosts,
Redemption 2, or was it just you walk around on a horse and you do the same thing?
You walk around on a horse.
You do the same thing. A horse simulator. You know what I mean?
These aren't even points. These aren't even points. There's nothing valid you're saying here.
I'd go outside and
I would walk around on a horse. I'd get some mates, man. I would walk around on a fucking horse.
Do you know what I can't do? I can't go to different realms, bro. But I can do it in God of War the game. I can do that in God of War the game.
It's true. Or well, you can't go to every realm, can you? They like to keep some away from you. You know, they tease you with Asgard, and then they're like,
bro.
Oh,
They just
we're not going to let you go to Asgard.
Sequel bait.
It's sequel bait. They're like, you can't do everything in this game. You can't do everything. They're like, no, you got to buy a second game in a few years' time that we're also going to delay, so that you can do all of the same things again, but visit new locations.
Based on do the same things again. What's that based on?
Based on the fact that.
Do you know what I know?
What they're going to do.
Because
you do the same things over and over again in God of War 1. You fight the same trolls about 17 times.
It's the sequel.
It's the same shit.
It's the sequel, and it's the same. It's just not as good. You know what I mean? Like, people that say Arthur Morgan's better than John Marston, go fuck themselves. It's not true. It's just simply not true. John Marston's a way better.
I see what you're doing here. You're trying to get me to agree with you. You're saying
something, it's because you do agree, but do you agree?
You're trying to get me to agree with.
Are you saying that
Arthur Morgan is an infinitely more detailed and has a way more depth than John Marston ever did in Red Dead Redemption 1. I may like John more. That's nostalgia talking.
Wow.
Arthur has more time. Every single.
I feel like you're lying. I feel like you're a liar. I feel like you're lying, and you're saying that just to prove the point. I don't think you actually think that.
I think you do. I do think that
John Marston's a better character.
I would never admit this to Amir in any other circumstance than this, but I do believe that Arthur Morgan is infinitely written better than John Marston was in the first game, and that's not because maybe not written better, but there is a lot more to him as a character. Whereas John, and it might be done on purpose to hold some things
way
back.
More nuanced.
But Arthur's
so much depth. Tries to throw it in your face.
But what Red Dead 2 also does is it gives John so much more depth. And it bolsters Red Dead Redemption 1 in a way that no other game I've ever seen it do before.
I know that, but you don't play as John until fucking the end and the game's over.
And you don't need to. The game's over. You have hours and hours left of the game when you finally get to the prologue. You've got so much development that happens to John over the course of the base game when you're playing as Arthur, and then so much that happens in the epilogue that it makes Red Dead Redemption 1 an even better game than it already was. And that's absolutely insane. And they're 8 years apart. It's absolutely mental how well they do that. They make a new character insanely there's so much depth to him, and they also bolster up the character that came in the previous game 8 years before that in such an incredibly organic and natural way. They grow together. It's a beautiful experience. God of War, does it work as well as the sequel to God of War 3?
I'm sorry, but
not really. It's not quite as good.
The point that you're making here is that again, we already have this is where we need to get to. Let's just make a point and get us to there. You've already got the line drawn. What God of War did was take a character in a franchise that was stale and getting bland and just like a fucking gore fest, and it was gore porn. It was gore porn.
Now this is where you're losing even the God of War fans. They're on my side now. You're talking shit about their own game.
And I'm not saying they're not good. I'm saying.
Oh no, you're backtracking now. This is the wrong choice. You've stepped in the wrong direction. I'm repeating
what I just said. If you would listen, and that Kratos, they took that, and they're like, how do we continue to develop all this many years later a 2-decade-long franchise? Let's continue to develop it in new and exciting ways. And they take Kratos and they give him new challenges and develop him even further. And they give
soften him up,
infinitely refreshing take.
Too much.
I'm sorry, there's actual development.
Disappointing.
Not let's repeat the same story again for the second time.
Well, let's see. Well, what about when in Halo 4 and 5 they tried to tell more of a grounded story?
I hope John doesn't die in this game. I don't know what's going to happen.
Hey, that's irrelevant because it's not even about that. It's not even about that. But what do you
mean it's not even about that? It is about that.
It's not about whether John survived. That's not the point. It's about the emotional journey you go on to get from A to B. It's the same as God of War. It's not about the destination, not about where you're going. It's about the character development and the journey there. It's just that Kratos
of course, it's a lot about the journey, but you can't say it's not at all about the destination. That's ridiculous.
I mean, not really, because you already know the destination, because it's not about what...
I know, that's my point! You already know!
But you already know what's happening in a God of War. It's not about getting to the top of that mountain. It's about the relationship between Atreus and Kratos.
There's legit reveals and setup and future to the end of God of War.
And that's the staple for what makes a good game and not a good game.
Of course, I'm just arguing with what's better than one. You've got two different points, and one's better than the other one.
I disagree.
Oh,
I don't need a future set up there. I don't need that.
Of course you do, bro.
I would argue it's far easier to set up a new thing than it is to tie something into an old thing in an incredibly satisfying way where there are no complaints about it. That you've done it.
I would concede that if our two examples, like you got a Star Wars and the prequel's arguably terrible, trying to set up and challenging, but then again you do the sequel to that equally as shit. So I don't necessarily know what's better, what's harder. I think that's a weird argument to make. I don't think you've got enough. I think that's.
I think it's easier to do.
Evidence to back that up.
I think it's far easier to make something new than it is to make something tie into something old.
Based on what?
It just depends how good you are at it.
Like you have sequels that, people are like, oh, what a great franchise. But most of the time when people make sequels, everyone's going to say the first one was better.
That's true. No, that's a good point. I'll give you that. A lot of people do say that. I think objectively... A lot of
people do say that.
A lot of people do. It's a fact.
You're right. That's my point. Yeah.
I think objectively it's easier to make a sequel, although I think it's easier to rope people in with a prequel. I think that if you're looking at it properly, like...
The only argument is I feel like prequels aren't taken seriously. Like, I feel like... A lot of game companies, a lot of movie franchises, they don't really put in the effort into the prequels as much. Whereas Red Dead Redemption 2, there's clearly a lot of focus in it. Like, they didn't treat this like a regular... Like, you look at the Batman Arkham games, and I'm obviously making your point for you here, but it's just a fucking fact, is they make that Batman Origins game, and that was just a fucking side game. They didn't really give a shit. Where they were working on Arkham Knight.
It's really good, though.
Yes. No, I'm not saying it, but I just feel like there's just... You can tell they don't give a shit as much as they give a shit about, like, a sequel. The follow-up. What's next? I don't think that proves any point of what's harder or easier. I certainly think... I think sequels are harder, especially in video games.
I think it depends on the sequel. Because I think a sequel to Red Dead would have been easier than a prequel to Red Dead.
Both points are sort of void each other out in this case, because God of War 4 here is a sequel, and it's a fourth game, completely reinvents the franchise, and is significantly the most critically acclaimed of the franchise. And then you've got Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a prequel, but critically acclaimed, and most people consider a better game than the first one, by the fan base. Yeah. So both are beloved by the fan base, whereas it could have gone the other way. My only argument to this is you're talking about a fully established franchise with many games and a long history with the same character, and you've got to follow that up and totally reinvent it. Do you know how easily that could have gone to shit and how they fucking nailed it? Oh, that's ridiculous. How did it go to shit? Tell me how God of War 4 is shit.
I mean, for one, introducing Atreus. Like, what?
Are you serious?
So you got Kratos and an annoying kid, right?
Oh my god, here we go. That's a load of
shit. You got this pairing. Well, it's just The Last of Us. They copied The Last of Us. They're like, let's do that again, but let's do it to Kratos, a character that's supposed to be a no nonsense, aggressive, this god of war that's just fucking ripping the heads off of all these gods. And now he's got to sit down with a kid and walk through the woods and teach him to hunt. Like,
you've seen
the
it
fuck?
before.
But then let's go back to my point. What about Halo? What about when they changed Halo? They tried to make Chief more of a grounded human character rather than just this, this silent.
Are you bringing up Halo 5,
warrior?
Bro?
Like,
to me right now?
What's the difference? Why is one a right to completely change a character and one not? Master Chief in Halo 5 is completely different. So is Kratos. Hey, look, one is done well and one's not. But the point is, they changed the character. They decided to go in a completely different direction, one that some people might not like.
No, but that's not the point I've just made though. The point I made is, yes, you're right. They made a huge change, and it fucking worked, bro. It worked. Oh my god!
But it worked for you.
I'm sorry. Which game won Game of the Year? I didn't want to have to go there, but it wasn't Red Dead Redemption 2, bro.
Hey, how many times have Ubisoft won those awards? How many times have been promoted, put up for those awards?
Ubisoft has never won Game of the Year. No, Ubisoft has never won the Game of the Year fucking ever. They've never won shit there.
I don't think awards don't matter at all.
This is an award.
What matters is the game itself.
It was voted on.
It's not voted on by people, though. It's voted on by critics.
God. What are you? You're a fucking game critic, bro.
I am a people. It's... I'm not one of those, alright? I'm not one of those game critics, alright? I'm a Red Dead Redemption fan, alright? I didn't vote for this.
I'm one of the people.
I would have voted for Red Dead.
James, the man of the people.
I am. I'm the people. I'm the people's person.
Yeah.
The people's critic, some might say.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in Civil War right now, and you're Tony Stark, and I'm Hawkeye. The futurist, gentlemen. Clapping for you.
Yeah.
He knows all. He sees all.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's how I felt just then. You're trying to convince yourself. Oh, I'm one of the people. You're a fucking game critic, mate. And the fucking game critics voted on it.
I'm not that game critic, though. And I'm not the guys voting on God of War because that's ridiculous.
God of War won Game of the Year. So you sitting there arguing that people didn't like it.
You can pretend the game's better because it's got an award. You can just keep saying that.
No.
It doesn't mean it's true.
I'm not using that in the argument to be like, God of War wins this debate because it won Game of the Year. What I'm arguing is, you trying to say it wasn't well received is bullshit.
It was well received. I'm not saying that it
wasn't.
You were
just saying.
I'm just saying. No. I'm saying some people might not like it, and I'm saying there is a valid reason for that, and that's because Kratos in God of War 4 is not really the Kratos we've seen before.
That's not true. Throughout the
you never played them,
bro. I fucking watched them, and
you've watched them. You've watched like a 12-minute recap.
No, that's not true. I've since watched walkthroughs of all the games. I have since watched walkthroughs of all the not the first game, 2 and 3. And not the side ones, in fairness. But what I'm saying is, you see in God of War 4 him go back to that. You see him bring back that fucking vicious guy. They don't just forget about him, pretend he didn't exist. It's like a fucking trauma, bro. It's like PTSD that he's gone through. It's part of the story, bro. That's where he came from. He's trying not to be that.
Why? Why is that the story they're telling him?
That's like saying anything. Why did they go and make the prequel to Red Dead Redemption? Why did they choose Arthur Morgan that's never mentioned in Red Dead Redemption 1? Why anything? Why is the sunrise? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Look, the point I'm making here,
How's that a point?
Why did they decide what they needed to do with God of War was make it not God of War? Why was that what they decided to do? Why did they decide to do that?
That's ridiculous.
They were like, let's change the combat, let's change the lore, the mythology that we're in, let's change the character himself, his motivations, who he is. Let's change all of those things. Let's rip out the Blades of Chaos until the end of the game. Well, what are they doing? It's just not even God of War. What have they done? It's a different game. It's a Last of Us clone.
It's a Last of Us clone. Really? It's a Last of Us clone.
Yeah, I
don't remember throwing fucking massive magical axes.
You don't?
In The Last of Us.
Yeah, well.
I'm fairly certain.
Well,
I'm
if
fairly
you
certain.
remember, which you probably clearly you don't, Joel actually the reason Abby comes after him is because he threw a massive axe at her dad. So
Yeah, right. Okay, I missed that
Yeah.
part. So maybe that's a good point. I don't know that. I just clearly don't remember that.
yeah,
Yeah. Look, I can't sit here and say Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't one of the great games of all time. It is. But is it a perfect game? Not even close.
but not even close.
It's not
what
even
a thing
close.
to say.
It's not even close.
It is perfect.
I don't want to have to bring up the online mode, but I'll bring it up.
Hey, that's separate. You can't bring up the online mode.
It's part of the game.
No, it's standalone now. It's standalone.
Is it
you
standalone
can
now?
download it standalone.
Well,
you can
no.
buy it standalone.
I've downloaded it standalone, and the box thing is still the Red Dead Redemption 2 logo on it.
No,
It doesn't say Red Dead Online. It says Red Dead Redemption 2.
we can't be using the online against it. That's not fair.
Fine. Fine. Let's take it back and let's just go to the single player. And it's like, it is not a perfect third-person gunplay game either.
I mean, I'd agree it is.
You would agree with that?
I mean, I
The combat's
disagree. I'd say that it is.
You
It's
think the
perfect.
combat's perfect? You think the combat
I
in
think
Red
Red
Dead Redemption is
Dead.
perfect?
I think I wouldn't change anything about Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's a lot.
I can't think of a
shit.
single thing I would change.
That's a lot of shit.
Really can't. I can't think of
I
any
think.
single thing
I mean, I
would
think
change.
it personally. I think it's too long. I think the game's too long.
I disagree. It's
I think
perfect in
this
length.
section-
Because
this
it takes you
section-
on that journey. It takes you on the perfect journey.
You
If
can
cut
still
stuff
go on the
out-
journey, bro. You can still go on the journey.
But I don't need it to be shorter. There's nothing I would cut out of the game. There's no single part of the game that
I bet you
that I think we
love
could
the
do
fucking
without.
Hobbit trilogy of movies, don't you? I bet you fucking froth on the Battle of the Five Armies. You just love length. It's the journey, bro.
But they're not good. Those aren't good though. The journey of Red Dead Redemption 2 is good. Length isn't bad if it's nailed.
The story's very good. It's amazing. It's one of the great stories of all time.
Perfect.
It's not perfect.
It is perfect.
It's
Go on.
close.
What's
the story's
an
close?
actual
The story's
flaw?
close to perfect. The story's close to perfect in Red Dead Redemption 2. The story in God
what's
of
the
War
flaw?
is perfect. The game God of War is perfect. There's no fat. It is just pure glory. It's pure fucking glory. The combat, you're telling me you have more fun shooting around in Red Dead Redemption 2 than ripping and tearing in God of War?
It depends.
in the
Are
combat?
we talking about God of War 3 or are we talking about
We're talking about God of War
fake
4.
God of War?
Oh my god, you're full of shit. You are a liar. You're
you
full
know,
of shit. You don't believe any
God
of
of
that.
War 4 is like it's like a fucking little baby's toy compared to what we've got in God of
my
War 1, 2, and 3.
God, that you're full of shit.
I've seen it all before. They just don't go far enough. Kratos doesn't do shit in God of War 4. What's he fucking playing at?
God.
We know he's better than this.
I asked you a question. You have more fun, is that what you're saying, shooting around in Red Dead Redemption 2 than God of War 4?
Yeah.
With your axe and the blades of chaos, all your abilities, all the enemies you fight, the Valkyrie, you're saying that's less fun than just shooting the same NPCs over and over and over again in Red Dead Redemption 2. With no change whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's because the game's not about that. The game's not. Red Dead Redemption 2 is not about
No, I'm
shooting.
not saying
whereas-
there's elements to games, bro, and I'm comparing two.
that's a
of
ridiculous
the same-
comparison. That's a ridiculous
Oh,
comparison.
combat
It's like
in a
saying-
game, gameplay.
But the focus of God of War is combat. The focus of Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't.
Focus. Oh my god, that's not necessarily
The
true.
point of
though,
the
is it?
game isn't combat, whereas
The
God
what-
of War is about
but
combat.
That's not true though. The point of the game in God of War is not about combat. It's a means to an end. It's a game. It's part of the journey of the gameplay. The same way
It's a core.
shooting
It's
fucking.
a core element. It's a core.
So
part of
is
the
it
game.
in Red Dead Redemption
It's like when you
2.
play.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
like when you play
That
Kingdom
is
Hearts 2. The
ridiculous.
two pillars are the narrative and the combat. Everything else is.
So you don't
just-
think
it's a
combat's a
separate-
core
it's a side
pillar of
thing.
Red Dead Redemption 2?
I don't think it's a core pillar in the same way it is for God of War.
Oh my god!
Because the
that's
core
so
pillars of Red Dead is the
insane,
narrative
bro.
and
That's
it's the
what a
world
load
in
of
immersion. Those are the
shit.
two things you have to nail.
not
Shooting
true.
is not people don't play Red Dead Redemption 2 because of the shooting. But
That's
people
oh
do
my
play
god!
of
I'm
War
sorry.
because of the
I would
combat.
guarantee you 80% of the people that bought the game did it for the shooting, because 80% of the people that bought
No
this
way.
game are just the people that buy every Rockstar game and they don't buy any other game. This game
But even
sold
if
out
they
the arse.
did, that's not the point.
And they did it, and I guarantee you ask a fucking 13-year-old, why'd you buy it? I get to shoot shit. Bro, that's ridiculous. People,
But if you
most
ask a
people
fucking
bought this game for
13-year-old
shooting.
boy that bought God of War,
How many? Do you know how many? Yeah, but I'm not the one making an argument like it's not the point of the game.
but it's not the
equally
point
as
of the
important.
game.
It's
At
equally
least
as
not for
important as it is in
me.
God of War.
I'm not
bro.
arguing with.
It's
I'm not arguing from
equally
the
as
point of view
important.
that shooting is the point of Red Dead Redemption 2.
But you're the one arguing that's the point in God of War, and it's the same. It's the fucking
It's not-
same.
it's not the point of God of War, but God of War, that one of the core aspects of the game, one of the reasons it's like...
You're not making any
is
sense.
the combat.
You're
it's
not
the
making any
combat
sense.
is huge. Like when you play God of War 1, 2, and 3...
But you're saying it's
the
not in Red Dead Redemption 2.
focus is on combat.
It is equally as important in Red Dead Redemption 2 as it is in God of War. It fucking is.
No!
Shooting around in a Rockstar game, every Rockstar game,
you don't spend nearly as much time shooting in Red Dead as you do fighting in God of War.
Bullshit. That's a load of shit. That's a load of shit.
There's so many times. You spend more time riding a horse. How is that not the core gameplay element?
I'm sorry. The difference is when you're not shooting in Red Dead Redemption 2, you're just fucking walking and riding a horse. In God of War, you have fucking puzzles and actually cool gameplay features to run you through. There's nothing interesting going on.
What, going over to a fucking chain and going, go on a train, jump on the chain.
I'm sorry, can I get a haircut? Fuck you.
What, living in a real, breathing virtual world that's never been achieved before?
That's...
To a level that's never been done before in the history of open world games.
This is unironically, I'm going to say
it's
this.
It's incredible.
If I wanted to eat a meal, why the fuck would I do it in a game, bro? This isn't The Sims. This isn't The Sims, bro. This is video games. This is legit shit. This is the risk where the big boys
how good
play,
a game
bro.
is based on how crazy is the thing that's happening. Oh, can you fight a dragon? Good game. That's immediately what makes a good game. Can I do it in real life? If I can, it's bad. That makes no sense.
No, it does.
That's not even a good point.
Because
it doesn't.
Because in God of War, you're actually doing things that are interesting. When you play a game, the point of games, and games are invented, it's about actually making your mind work. There's a challenge to it. It doesn't have to be combat or exciting, but you can stop and make you think. You fucking be like, I'm gonna walk here and there and do something I could and probably should do in real life because I really need a shower and I smell like shit. But let's do it in the game instead. You fat fucks that are playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and not God of War.
What the fuck just happened? Oh god.
I feel like that's the end. I feel like we go to the poll.
Oh god.
Holy fuck. I just went really...
Oh god. Let's have a look at the poll then. Look at that. Red Dead Redemption 2, 67.8%. 1,000 votes.
How many votes? How many votes?
1,000. 1,065.
Wow, it's a lot of votes, to be fair. It's a lot of votes. Thanks everyone for voting. So what was it? 67.8? Did you say?
67.8. Yeah.
2/3. 2/3 of the people think Red Dead Redemption 2 is a better game than God of War.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for backing me.
Look, I could say
the right side of history.
Obviously, one game sold more, so I would argue that most people voted for Red Dead Redemption 2, never even played the greatest game of all time, God of War 4, and I would just say I feel sorry for them. That's what I want to say. I just want to say I feel sorry for them. I could also say Amir, I'm sure, retweeted that and got his bots in.
He did, sadly. He did, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
He quoted it.
So, yeah, he quoted it. Wow. Yeah. I'm shocked. So I could say that, but I'm a man of my word. I'll take my licks. James gets the win.
Let's go.
We had fun. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
You and I love arguing, and we are comfortable enough of 7 years of friendship to yell at each other and abuse each other, that it works. And I had
it's
fun.
also the dumbest debate as well, because we both love the other game as well. So
that
it's just so stupid.
That's what I most like about it, because I meant everything I said, but also I'm also trying to get a rev out of you as well. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of my top 3 favorite games of all time, but it's behind God.
I also love God of War, but you do fight the same troll enemy 17 times.
Yeah, you do fight the same NPCs 10 trillion times. You could say that as well. But
that's all right. Every human being looks the same. When it's a game about fighting gods, I feel like you should be fighting, a few gods, and maybe not the same troll.
You do
with
fight
a big
gods,
log on its shoulder.
You do fight gods, though, don't you? You know what I mean? And there's some pretty amazing battles. The whole giant and. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Boulder.
Yeah, maybe I'd change it. I would take that out. I'd be like, let's swap the troll for something else. Come on, let's make some more assets.
I feel like you don't remember the game very well, James. To be honest with you.
I do. I remember those trolls. Too many.
Yeah. Okay.
Too many.
Yeah, look. Again, I'll take my licks. Jamie gets the win. But let's be honest with ourselves. Amir fucked up the polls, and we're going to go to patreon.com/as-always from here.
We are going to do that, though. So
we are going to do that.
Definitely pledge. Come over. You can be involved in the polls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can see what people had to say as well. Because if we do it over there and we get obviously get a little bit less interaction than on Twitter. If you leave your thoughts or whatever, we could always read comments as well as part of the segment and see what people have to say.
What did people say on the poll? Jas goes, Amir running in to rig the poll like it's Forrest Gump running. That's funny. And obviously both of us responded with a gif of the gamer obviously on the side of. And no one knows what this poll was about. Like, people just think it's a debate, like, for Twitter, but it's genuinely like, you know, there's a lot of passionate fans on both sides, to be fair, in the responses.
Yeah, that's good.
And then Josh comes in with fucking his opinion, calling us fucking amateurs, and came in with Jump Force, which is an anime combat game.
God, Jump Force. That game was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor said, Red Dead Redemption 2 has the best story, but God of War 2018 is a better game overall. I agree with that. That's how I feel about it. I think the best script in any game ever was Red Dead Redemption 2, but the better game overall that I'd rather play is God of War.
I think exactly what I argued in this debate, actually.
You don't want to backtrack. That's fine.
No backtracking. No.
So, Abhi said, of course, as always, folks, vote for Red Dead Redemption 2. And then a gif of a sad fish.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the as always people will really get to decide, because I feel like this was half of the Mia's people.
And then we've got the best debate ever in the replies to that comment saying, because it's a better game, from Liam. And then Bradley says, it's not though. And then Liam says, definitely is.
Well, I'm glad we got it sorted.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that one.
Liam did ratio on pretty hard, so that's an L. Well, I think you'd pronounce it Amir, but it's A-M-I-R. Amir. I'm not a huge fan of Red Dead Redemption 2 mission design and gunplay, but god damn, that game is replayable, and I fucking love God of War for its story, gameplay, world. I hate this. A lot of people didn't like that it was a debate. They love both games, to be fair.
Yeah. It's good to see people liking both. I see
Yeah.
people arguing way too much. We can enjoy both.
Yeah.
But one's slightly more than the other. And that one's Red Dead.
The Witcher 3 is the undisputed GOAT for me. That's from Goldie HP. BK said Red Dead Redemption 2 is hella overrated. Amazing story, characters and visuals, but the core mechanics are straight out of 2007. Well, I think... I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. Jay said, I tried to like God of War, and honestly, I find it so overrated. It's good, but it's not amazing or anything close to a masterpiece. And then Ghost Serpent responds, I feel that way about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's really interesting, though, hearing people say that. Like, I can't imagine having that experience with God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, I know, but also you and I can't imagine being a fucking moron. So that's also the way it goes. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Adam Noob said, fuck you, this is hard.
It is hard, yeah.
Yeah. There's a few other ones. Someone's like, no lies detected here. Seeing Red Dead Redemption 2 winning the poll, and it's a gif of Kratos throwing a computer in the garbage. I like that. Lots of good responses, lots of good interactions, a lot of fun. To vote in future polls, head over to patreon.com/as always. And for just $1 a month, you get exclusive access to the Clubhouse podcast that is weekly at the moment. Plus, get to vote in these polls that we'll do.
You get early access to any of my big projects that I work on, so there's that too.
100%. And with that, James, that is the end of the return of the As Always podcast. I really enjoyed the Civil War segment. I think it's a great segment. I look forward to the next one. I feel like I want to save the Kingdom Hearts 1 versus Kingdom Hearts 2 for a while, though. I feel like we can't just jump straight into that. That's going to be heated.
That's going to be a good one. I can't wait.
I feel like I need to actually make notes and prepare.
Oh, I could talk so much shit about Kingdom Hearts 1.
I
I don't
could
want to
the
do
same
it,
about Kingdom Hearts
but
2.
I could.
Yeah, I could
But
too.
you'd be wrong. You'd
Yeah,
just be
but
wrong. It all
you
comes
would
from
be
a place
wrong.
of misinformation. You're just confused as a kid. You were like, oh, I don't
Right.
understand any of it.
Yeah, well,
Oh
here's the
my
thing.
God.
I'm someone that's actually played the games for 20 years, and you've just come in last minute.
And somehow you're still wrong. It's crazy.
I've gifted you.
My God.
And the
You've
community
absolutely
friendship.
missed the train
And do you
on
know-
Kingdom
do
Hearts
you know-
2.
you know- Can I just say, do you know what pisses me off? How everyone gives you credit for Kingdom Hearts in this community. Do you know
Yeah.
what? It grinds my fucking gears.
Good.
You know what I mean? It grinds my fucking gears. A little bit of respect would be nice, but
Yeah, well, you know.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I would sit here and put in Kingdom Hearts 3 versus Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'd feel comfortable with that. But I don't think people would agree with me as much as Kingdom Hearts 1 will get me more people on my side. That's the better chance I have of
Yeah,
winning. For
there's
sure.
no way you could possibly win with
No,
Kingdom Hearts
no.
3.
I mean, I would rather play Kingdom Hearts 3 than 2, but that's just me personally. Because
Oh my God.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is my least favorite of the three.
That'd be a complicated one for me, actually, because I prefer Kingdom Hearts 3 to Kingdom Hearts 1, probably. Maybe
Yeah,
now.
Interesting. Well, I guess you're talking Final Mix. See, when I remember Kingdom Hearts 2, I just think of base Kingdom Hearts 2. I think of base Kingdom Hearts 1 and base Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't really even think about the Final Mixes, to be honest.
Yeah, well, Final Mix is definitive now.
Which is sort of
Could
what I
also
need.
be arguing KH1 Final Mix, which is also better than KH1, but...
Yeah. Because that's what I grew up with, was the original games. So it's almost like we're debating two different games.
Makes a lot of sense.
Really.
I mean, KH2 is still great, but it Final Mix added so many fucking amazing
To me, it feels like a
things.
different game, whereas like Kingdom Hearts 1's still sort of like, I mean, they added a bunch, but it's not nearly as much as Kingdom Hearts 2 got so much more than KH1.
They did change a lot. They added, in fact, limit form wasn't even... You didn't even have dodge roll in base KH2.
Yes.
That was
Yep.
a Final Mix thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cutscenes and exposition and, like, additional stuff. Yeah, lots and lots of shit in Final Mix.
Yeah. Which is, yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of cool debate topics that you and I could definitely have for even movies or anything like that. I was trying to think of a Marvel one, but I don't think there is one. Like, I was like, oh, Iron Man versus
Vision,
Captain
is
America,
Vision
and
good?
I'm like, but you like Captain America better now. It's not like I converted you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We already had that debate.
Yeah, we've had that debate over many years. Spider-Man versus Captain America? Is that a debate?
We could do the Spider-Man, so like Raimi, like Tobey Maguire versus Tom
Yes.
Oh,
That's
God.
let's do that next episode. No, let's save it until the No Way Home trailer comes out, because that'll be a really
Didn't they say
good-
they're not doing any?
What do you
I
mean?
thought that was a thing. They said they weren't doing any promotional material for No Way Home.
Wait, what? They're just going to release the movie?
Like, because someone said something in my chat. Someone brought it up. Was like they said they weren't going to do any because of what they're doing with the film. They don't want to do any promotional stuff. Like they were taking a big risk or something. I don't know though if that's true or not.
That's
I feel like more people would
fucking
know.
R-worded. That's R-worded, James. That's fucking R-worded. Are you? That makes no sense. How are we going to know it's coming
true.
out?
It could not be true. It could be a rumor. Who knows?
But like, surely there's shots in the movie that's just Tom Holland's Spider-Man in it.
I don't know.
And like, you can
I
do
don't
posters
really know.
with just him. You can lie. You know what I mean? I feel like they've got enough money where they can make marketing material that's a lie. Marvel do it all the time. They put fake shit in trailers. They put fake shit in posters. They do it all the time.
I mean, I like the idea. If they don't do any
I don't.
marketing,
What are you
honestly, that's so
talking about?
new and interesting. I would love to go into a film not seeing anything beforehand.
I'm alright not seeing
I'm
like
gonna
a
see
massive
anyway.
trailer or anything. By the way, did you see that Eternals trailer? Actually, really fucking good.
I watched the original trailer. I didn't
No,
watch,
they
was
just
there a
released.
new
They
one?
just released a new one today, like a couple hours.
Oh
ago.
no, I haven't.
It's actually really good. It actually gives like, I didn't know anything about the Eternals. It actually like sort of explains what's going on.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. So I'm excited. for Eternals.
Interesting. I'll have to give that a watch.
It like the vibe, the tone of it's actually quite a bit more serious. You know what I mean? Like they try to do the little bit of comedy, of course they do, like the classic Marvel comedy, but it's
Well, it's
mostly
Marvel, they have
like
to.
it feels like quite mysterious and quite
Okay.
like it feels very. It's just a different tone to any other Marvel property I'd seen in that trailer that I got from that different vibe, and I liked it.
That's good.
So I checked it out.
We like to see different vibe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Different vibes. We like vibes. Anyway,
We do.
that's it for this podcast. James, do you want to read out the list and thank our great people over at patreon.com/as always? You'll never say that again. You'll be over it by the end of the fucking
I will. As soon as I've done this, I'm just never. Yeah, I'm gonna be sick of it. All right, thank you guys so much for supporting us over on patreon.com/as always. We appreciate the fuck out of all of you keeping us gaming. That's what we like to see. So to thank everybody pledging $5 or more, we have got Ollie, the Superior Ollie, Avery Dobbs, Clark53, Damien, Ferrantino, Flash Paradox, Franco, Jesper Olsen, King Richard III, Olberic, Ryan Hafer, Tristan Weaver, Bullsack47, Mala Schwab, Aragon, Henry, Kimasabe Gamer, Cream Pies, Lumistrad, Seth, Sicarius aka Kieran, Abbas, The Average Tifa Simp and Toast Enjoyer, Abominable Goblin Shit, Adam, the Chrissy Simp, Alfie Robber, Andy Cure, Big Dick 666999, Ben Davis, Ben Higgins is thankful for his stick brethren, Benedict Clobbers, Biggest Fucking Virgin, Bodge, BQ Overlord, The Elder, Brian Ford, Christian0210, Chunky Malhar, Connor DeRosa, Bully in the Alley, Emil Catborg, Ethan Dean, Evan the Poet, Fishy, Furious Coco, Gene, Gimme a Penis, Ginkgo Swag, God Bless the Visionary Zack Schneider, Gwen Hughes, Heresy aka Bat Assassin, Hookie, Idiot Strength, Jack, DG1998, Jaden B. Bennett, Joe the Founded Scarab, Josh the Villiers, Josh J. Anderson, Joshua Mora, Kanye, please fucking release Donda, sincerely, Ashton, Kassassin, Christian Rowe, Kyle, Liam, Luca, Louis de Leon, Mario 5380, Master Bass, Max H, Nick Miller, Order 1908, Otaku World 7, our best and favourite mod, Brownie, Owen Big Brain Brain, Philip Stillwagon, Radok, Ravjai, Son of a Bitch, OG Adago, Sparky Bark, Spectral Division or Adrian, I don't know, man. The Blue Cow, they call me the Greenie Bearer, but I can't read that name anymore. TJFL, Tristan, Obugfell, Walshy, you absolute Philly Thothage, aka Zacchino.
Zacchino, yeah. You haven't been here for Zacchino.
I haven't. I don't know what that means. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Fucking love you. Appreciate the fuck out of you.
Love you all. So happy to be back. And we'll see you next week for the Four Pillars podcast and the following week with another episode of the As Always podcast. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
See you next time, boys. Bye-bye. Bye.